Alright, so tell us about yourself. Explain your background.
Well, my name is Tevin Cherry. I'm 26. I'm from Thomaston, Georgia. I'm the second of 3 siblings. I am also a twin, and I was born with cerebral palsy on November 2nd, 1991.
So can you describe what cerebral palsy is for those who don't know?
Cerebral palsy is basically a movement, not a disease, but a movement condition that is caused by premature birth, lack of oxygen into the brain, and it affects the body's ability to move and function in certain areas.
So what are several things that you would want listeners or viewers to know about CP?
It's the most common physical childhood disability in America. About 1 in 321 people are born with it each and every single year, and about 17 million people have it in America.
What impact did your family have on your development as a person living with a disability?
My family had a huge, profound impact on my development, and they really pushed me to be independent. From my father not really always rushing to help me up, I had to figure out if I fell, how to get back up on my own. My sister, she had a huge impact in helping me develop and grow. She used to play these like little games with me, trying to make me move faster. Like, she would always count down and give me a certain amount of seconds to get to a place, and if I beat that time, she would give me like a Rice Krispie treat or chocolate chip cookies.
How did the education system play a role while growing up in life? What are some differences compared to a person without disability?
From childhood, early on growing up, I remember specifically having to go to 504 and IEP meetings, and they're very similar, but the differences are the IEP is just a layout of things that I would need to have in place because I have a disability, and the 504 is more specific. Say if I needed extra time or needed someone to write, like I had a scribe growing up. Math was especially a struggle for me in college, but as I learned how to adapt and adjust and come up with my own ways to solve problems, everything else became easy.
What hurdles did you encounter during your journey to capture your college degree?
Transportation was an issue. I remember having to get up at like 5 in the morning to catch a bus that would come at like 6 o'clock. The bus ride was so exhausting. And then there would be issues where they would forget to come pick me up, and I would end up being at school a lot longer than I planned on. One of the things I went through as I got out of school was I ended up graduating late from Gordon, and I faced discrimination because I had this one teacher. I would arrive late, and I told him that I would be late because of public transportation and how I would be late, and he locked me out of his classroom. So I had to go to the counselor at the school at the time and tell her about the situation. Unfortunately, I had to end up dropping that class and going to summer school. Vocational rehab at the time, they were saying that they didn't provide any aid for a person with a disability. I had to go online, find their manual, and highlight some of the things, and when I showed it to them, it's like they eventually had to help me out in that sense, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever went through.
Do you see any similarities or differences between living in the country and city? If so, what are they?
I'd say the biggest difference is the availability of information. Living in Thomaston, the nearest doctor or Social Security office would be 30 minutes, and there's no real public transportation system there. As far as living in Atlanta, everything is right there, and just the access and availability to the resources that someone in my position of stature would need.